You've made it through the body scanner. You're standing there in your socks waiting for your bin to come through on the conveyor belt. You can see it. Your bag is right there, moving along with everyone else's belongings. And then, without warning, the belt shifts. Your bag gets diverted to a different lane. The one off to the side. The one with the metal table and the TSA officer in blue gloves waiting there. Your stomach drops. Your heart starts racing. You feel the heat rising in your face. Everyone behind you is grabbing their bags and walking away. And you're stuck there thinking, what did I do? Did I accidentally pack something illegal? Am I about to miss my flight? I want you to know something right now. That physical reaction you're having, that panic, that sweating, that feeling like you're in trouble, it's completely normal. And I'm here to tell you that getting flagged for secondary screening is almost never about crime or suspicion. It's not because TSA thinks you're dangerous. It's usually about clutter, density, or just the physics of how X-ray machines work. Today, I'm walking you through exactly what happens next, step by step, so that if this ever happens to you, or when it happens to you, you don't freeze up. You'll know what to expect, what to say, and most importantly, what not to do. Let's take the fear out of this process. The first thing you need to understand is why your bag got pulled in the first place. Because once you know this, the whole thing makes a lot more sense. Those X-ray machines are looking for density and organic mass, not specific shapes of weapons or bombs. The machine creates an image based on how much material the X-rays can penetrate. Dense objects show up as dark or colored blobs. Low-density items, like clothing, show up as lighter, almost transparent. When something in your bag is too dense, or when multiple items are stacked in a way that creates a shadow the machine can't see through, the computer flags it. The officer watching the screen doesn't even make this decision most of the time. The algorithm does it automatically. So what are the most common innocent items that trigger this? Let me give you the list that surprises people every single time. Dense foods. If you're traveling with a block of cheese, a brick of fudge you bought as a souvenir, or a tub of protein powder, those items look like organic explosives to the scanner. I'm serious. Cheese and C4 plastic explosives have similar density on an X-ray. The machine can't tell the difference. Another big one is stacked electronics. If you've got your laptop sitting on top of your Kindle, with your phone charger and a tangle of cables underneath, you've just created what TSA calls a visual shield. The X-ray can't penetrate through all those layers of metal and plastic to see what's underneath. To the officer, that blob could be anything. Books and magazines are another shocking culprit. Glossy paper is surprisingly dense. If you're carrying 3 or 4 hardcover books stacked flat in your bag, the machine sees a solid rectangular mass and flags it because it can't see what's hidden beneath those books. It could be more books, or it could be something else. The machine doesn't know, so it diverts your bag. The officer isn't searching for a weapon. They're not trying to catch you with contraband. They're just trying to resolve an image they couldn't see clearly. That's it. Once you understand that, the whole interaction becomes less scary. Let me know in the comments if TSA has ever flagged your bag and what happened. I love reading all your stories and I make sure to reply to every comment. Now, here's where most nervous travelers make their first big mistake, and this is critical. When your bag gets diverted to that secondary table, your instinct is to walk over and grab it. You want to help. You want to explain. You want to open it yourself and show them there's nothing wrong. Do not do this. I need you to hear me on this. Do not touch your bag until the TSA officer tells you it's okay. The area beyond the conveyor belt, where that metal table is, that's what TSA calls the secure zone. Once your bag enters that space, it's under the officer's control. If you reach in and touch it, you've just committed what they consider a security breach. The officer can shut down the entire lane, which means everyone behind you has to be rescreened. And now the officers are going to treat you much more seriously because you violated protocol. Here's what you should do instead. Stand at the end of the metal table a few feet back where the officer can see you. Make eye contact if they look up. Keep your hands visible, either at your sides or clasped in front of you. Wait for them to call you over. They're going to ask you to step forward in just a moment, but you wait for permission. This one simple action, just standing there calmly and waiting, signals to the officer that you understand the process and you're not a problem. It sets the tone for a smooth, quick interaction. When the officer does call you over, here's what's going to happen next. They're going to ask you a very specific question, and how you answer matters. They'll say, "Is there anything sharp or breakable inside this bag that could hurt me?" Now, some travelers hear this and think it's a trick question. They think, if I say yes, they'll think I'm hiding a weapon. That's not what this is. This question is about officer safety, plain and simple. TSA officers reach into hundreds of bags every day. They're putting their hands into bags they can't fully see into yet. If you've got a razor in your toiletry kit, or a broken picture frame wrapped in clothes, or even a metal nail file, they need to know so they don't cut themselves. Answer honestly. If you have a razor, say yes, I have a razor in my toiletry bag on the left side. If you packed a glass souvenir, say I have a glass bottle wrapped in a towel in the middle. If there's nothing sharp, Just say no, just clothes and snacks. The officer will appreciate the honesty and it speeds up the process. What you don't want to do is over-explain or get defensive. Don't launch into a story about why you packed what you packed. Just answer the question directly and let them do their job. At this point, the officer is going to open your bag. And here's where something might happen that looks scary but is completely routine. They might pull out a small wand with a white fabric pad on the end. This is the swab test, and it freaks people out because it looks official and intimidating. Let me demystify this for you. That wand is testing for chemical residue, specifically traces of explosives. The fabric pad picks up microscopic particles from the surface of your bag, your zippers, the handle, sometimes even your laptop or shoes. The pad goes into a machine that analyzes it. If the test comes back clean, you're done. If it comes back with a hit, they'll do a second test to confirm. Now here's the part that causes false alarms. This test is extremely sensitive. I mean, it can detect parts per billion. That sensitivity is great for security, but it also means that certain innocent substances can trigger it. Glycerin-based hand lotions are a common one. If you rubbed lotion on your hands an hour ago and then grabbed your suitcase handle, that residue is on there. If you're a gardener and you were working with fertilizer yesterday, trace amounts on your hands can transfer to your bag. Some heart medications, particularly nitroglycerin, can cause a positive result. Even certain types of food packaging can leave residue that the machine flags. If your bag or your hands get swabbed and the test comes back positive, don't panic. The officer will likely swab a different area, or they'll ask to swab your hands directly. If the second test comes back clean, you're cleared. If it's still showing positive, they might call a supervisor over to do a more thorough check. But even then, it's usually resolved quickly. The key is to stay calm. This is standard procedure. It's not an accusation. They're not pulling you aside because they think you're a criminal. They're just following protocol to clear the alert so you can move on. While the officer is going through your bag, here's what they're actually doing. They're not tossing everything out onto the table and making a mess, despite what you might have seen in movies. They're methodically moving items, feeling for anything unusual, and most importantly, repositioning the dense objects that caused the flag in the first place. If you had a block of cheese sitting right on top of your laptop, they're going to move that cheese to the outer pocket so it can be rescanned separately. If you had books stacked flat, they're going to stand them upright or separate them. If your electronics were tangled together, they're going to spread them out. Then they'll rescan the bag. This whole process usually takes between 2 and 5 minutes. I know it feels like an eternity when you're standing there watching them go through your personal belongings. But it's genuinely quick once you understand what they're doing. They're not reading your diary. They're not judging your packing skills. They're just trying to get a clear picture of what's in that bag so the X-ray makes sense. Now let's talk about how this ends, because there are 3 possible outcomes. Outcome A is by far the most common. This happens in about 80% of secondary screenings. The officer repositions the dense item, rescans the bag. The image comes back clear, and they hand your bag back to you with a polite, "You're all set, thank you." You repack if needed. You grab your stuff and you walk to your gate. That's it. No drama, no confiscation, no missed flight, just a brief delay. Outcome B happens in about 15% of cases. The officer finds a prohibited item. This is usually something the traveler genuinely forgot they packed. A pocket knife on a keychain, a full-size bottle of shampoo buried at the bottom of a carry-on, a souvenir snow globe that's over the liquid limit, a lighter that's not TSA approved. If this happens, you usually have 2 choices. You can surrender the item, which means they throw it away right there and you continue on to your flight. Or, if you have time before your flight and you really want to keep the item, you can exit security, go back to the ticket counter, and check your bag. Then you come back through security again. Most people just surrender the item because it's faster. Outcome C is the rarest. This happens in maybe 5% of secondary screenings. The officer searches the entire bag, finds nothing prohibited, realizes it was just a dense item or a stacking issue, and they apologize for the inconvenience. They'll often explain what caused the flag. Your protein powder looked suspicious on the scan, but you're good to go. It feels a little anticlimactic, but honestly, this is the best outcome. You learn what triggered it, and you know how to pack differently next time. Speaking of packing differently, let me give you some quick tips to avoid secondary screening in the future. First, separate your electronics. Don't stack your laptop, tablet, and e-reader on top of each other in the same compartment. Spread them out. Put your laptop in the main section, your tablet in a side pocket, your phone and chargers in the front pocket. This gives the X-ray a clear view of each item. Second, if you're traveling with dense foods, put them in an outer pocket by themselves. Don't bury a block of cheese or a jar of peanut butter in the middle of your clothes. The X-ray can see it clearly if it's isolated. Third, don't stack books flat. If you're carrying multiple books, stand them upright like they'd sit on a bookshelf. This reduces the density profile and lets the X-ray see around them. Fourth, keep your toiletries in a clear quart-sized bag and keep that bag accessible. Don't pack it at the bottom under 3 layers of clothes. If the officer needs to see it, they should be able to pull it out easily. Fifth, travel size everything whenever possible, even if you're not worried about the 3.4-ounce liquid rule. Smaller containers mean less density, which means less chance of a flag. Secondary screening is not an accusation. It's not a punishment. It's not a sign that you did something wrong. It's a manual check of an image that the computer couldn't resolve automatically. That's all it is. The officers conducting these checks do hundreds of them every single shift. They're not trying to catch you or embarrass you. They're just trying to clear the alert and keep the line moving. If you understand why it happened, if you know what to do and what not to do, the whole experience becomes routine instead of terrifying. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had your bag pulled for secondary screening? What was the item that caused it? Was it something ridiculous like a block of cheese or a stack of books? Or did they find something you genuinely forgot you packed? Drop your story in the comments below, because I read every single one and I love hearing about the absurd things that trigger these machines. And if you've never had this happen, maybe you've been lucky, or maybe you're just a really smart packer. Either way, now you know what to expect if it does happen. If you found this helpful, if you learned something new, or if this eased some of your travel anxiety, hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week breaking down the parts of air travel that stress people out and giving you the real information you need to fly with confidence. Next week, I'm covering what happens when TSA finds a prohibited item and you don't want to surrender it. What are your actual rights? Can you argue your case? Stay tuned for that. Safe travels and I'll see you at the gate.